Okay guys, so jumping right in, before we get started, I'm just going to set my eyeshadow base with a skin tone eyeshadow. It doesn't matter which one. We're going to be working with the Modern Renaissance palette and the Subculture palette today. So we're just going to put a little bit of tape on the outer edge of our eye, so when we take it off, it's going to create a nice sharp edge. I'm going to dunk into Primavera from the Modern Renaissance, and I'm going to use that as my brow bone highlight. And then dipping into a little bit of Dawn from Subculture. I'm just going to run this through the crease. I cannot stop wearing this color since I got this palette. I'm obsessed with Dawn. It's such a good transition shade. And then from Modern Renaissance, I'm going to dip into Raw Sienna, and I'm just going to throw a little bit in there as well, just to warm it up. Then lightly dipping into All Star from Subculture. I'm going to start building that on the outer edge of my eye, just buffing that in. Since the Subculture palette is so pigmented, you really want to work with a little bit of color at a time. So I'm just picking up a little bit on my brush at a time and then going back in and building up the color to where I want it. Switching back over to Modern Renaissance, I'm going to dip into Love Letter just to bring in some of those pink tones into the look. I know All Star is a little bit more burgundy, so I just want to brighten that up a little bit with Love Letter. So I'm just kind of placing that above All Star to create a nice transition. Now we're going to cut the crease, so I'm going to dip into the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and I'm just going to place that on my eyelid and look up, and wherever that concealer touches, that's where my, border of where I'm going to cut my crease is going to be. So I'm just going to place that concealer, and as it gets to the outer edge, I'm just going to fade that into the eyeshadow and kind of tap it out with my finger just to give it a nice blend there so there's no harsh line. And then I'm also going to set that concealer with a translucent powder. Next, I'm going to wet my brush with some setting spray and dip into the color Adorn from Subculture. I used the Scandinavia setting spray, but I found that it wasn't picking up the most pigment that I wanted it to with the brush, so I just dipped in with my finger and packed on that color really nicely. And then to get into those fine edges around where I cut the crease, I just took a little fine detailer brush and just cleaned up those edges with some of Adorn. Now we're going to take some LA Splash Till Midnight Elixir. If you don't know what this stuff is, it's like a liquid waterproofing mixing medium, so you can mix it with pigments and glitters to create a nice fluid liner with it. It's really, really cool product. So I'm going to mix Max Copper pigment with that, and we're going to outline the cut crease and kind of just fade it right where we cut it, so not all the way across, just till that edge. And then I'm just going to darken up the outer corner with Rowdy from Subculture. Just packing a little bit of that on the outer corner just to darken up the outer edge. Next, I'm going to mix these two glitters with the LA Splash Till Midnight Elixir as well to create a nice fluid consistency to put on top of that pigment we put before. So I just want to add some glitter on top of that to make it pop a little bit more. And then in the inner corner, I'm going to put a little bit of the Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder, and I'm just going to really pop that inner corner with that. And then for some liner, I'm taking the LA Splash Architect Liner. This is the best liner. I literally made a video dedicated to this liner because it's so freaking amazing. It's so, so good. So pigmented. It just glides on super easy, and the brush is so pointed. So that's my favorite liner. And then dipping into some of the good old Wet n Wild concealer, the Photo Focus concealer. Now I'm just going to pop on some lashes. I don't know the name off the top of my head, so I'll link these down in the description box. And then I just want to add a little bit of the Urban Decay liner in Walk of Shame. Even though this part is so a simple of a step, I think it's really important for this look because it really opens up the eye. And then I'm just going to add some mascara on my top and bottom lashes just to tie everything together. Moving on to the face, I'm dipping into some old favorites. This is MAC Soft and Gentle Highlighter. This used to be the highlighter. I recently picked it back up and I was like, yes, this is good. And I'm also dipping into MAC Give Me Sun Mineralized Skin Finish, which is also a favorite, oldie but a goodie. I'm just going to warm up the face with that. For some blush, I'm using Wet n Wild Apricot Blush. I like this because it's more of like a blush topper. It has like a little bit of shimmer in it, so it kind of gives like a little bit of pop, not too pigmented. And for the final step, moving on to lips, first I'm going to take MAC Plum Lip Liner just to line my lips. And then I'm going to dip into the Anastasia lip palette. I'm going to use that darkest purpley shade, which is a gorgeous shade. I actually really love the Anastasia lip palette. It's a great palette and the formula is perfect. They're matte formulas and it really lasts a long time, so they're great lipsticks. So this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe before you leave and like this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!